हेलो।
हाँ मैडम। हेलो।
यस मैम।
हाँ नहीं सर, जस्ट चेक करें यूट्यूब पे।
हाँ चेक कीजिए,
हाँ
सारे
हेलो।
डिपार्टमेंट में शेयर कीजिए।
हाँ वो शेयर करते हैं, पहले एक बार चेक कर रहे हैं कि यूट्यूब पे। हाँ हाँ
अरे
मग येईल ना आम्ही जस्ट
हाँ मैम।
पण येतोय का, क्लिअर येतोय का?
हो
ओके सर, ठीक है।
all department students will be coordinated so that
ती लिंक हाँ
maximum students can view.
दिसते ना नहीं वीडियो नहीं आला हो क्लियर आवाज है हाँ वो वीडियो पाहिजे ना पूर्ण डिले 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 ना याचे फोटो वर कसे काढणार मग आता फोटो वर कसे काढणार नाही तर आपण प्रोजेक्टर लावला फोटो काढला तर ऑनलाईन नाही क्लासमध्ये लावून फोटो काढला तर फोटो यूट्यूबवर दिसते ना प्रिन्सिपल सरांचं कितना स्क्रीन पे 100 है ना कुछ तो भी माइक बंद कर मॅडमला फोन करून सांगा एक मिनिट मैं अपना दोनों बंदे
आवाज इकडे आवाज का येत नाहीये? नाही इकडे ये तर जरा, तिकडनं बसून बोलते इथे नाहीये बघ, आता काय करू?
बैनर बैनर टाकून ठेवू का
मला सांगा पहिले काय टाकू? Ncrenb 2022 live inauguration at 9:55 am using आणि लिंक देऊ.
तुला आवाज येते?
थोडं डिले पण टाइम
सर आता आवाज नाही येत.
तेवढा टाइम डिले बघायला लागेल पहिलं. नाही वॉलपेपर आला ना.
हाँ पाठवतो शेअर करतो जस्ट मानसीला सांगितलं
नाही हां अरे ते हे चुकीचं आहे. लेट काढायचं ना.
युट्यूबची लिंक पाठवून दे.
जेवढे कनेक्ट होते.
काय कोविड टीका करायला हेलो मैम वो पीपीटी का फर्स्ट स्लाइड है ना उसमें लेट श्री निकालना है आपको.
सनी काढलं
काढलं
मग आपल्या बॅनर मध्ये
हाँ
आपल्या बॅनर मधलं
अरे
आपला बॅनर हाय
मला वाटलं
मॅडम.
तू मला ती स्क्रीन दाखव. मी आपलं मेसेज पाठवता स्टॉप करून ते काम करू. तेच म्हटलं मी काल तिला सांगितलेलं.
अजून नाही ओपन होईल. आता ओपन होईल आपलं.
आपला कोणता बॅनर
जो ॲप बॅनर बनवलाय ना मॅम कोणी बॅनर बनवलं ना त्यात होतं. लेट श्री होतं.
आपला बॅनर म्हणजे ते मुलांना जे पाठवलं त्याचं आहे का.
ह्याच्यात होतं ना तो.
मग त्याच्यामध्ये तर सगळ्यांना गेलंय. जाऊ दे.
माझा माईक बंद आहे. माझा माईक बंद आहे.
Hello. 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 Hello.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषार
Good morning, everyone. We are starting with this session within 2 to 3 minutes. So just make sure, kindly, it's a request to everyone to please mute yourself. Okay, just check your mic, mute yourself. We are starting with this session in 2 to 3 minutes. So let's start with our event. Honorable dignitaries, learned delegates, respected principal of various daughter institutions of Vishnu Vaman Thakur Charitable Trust, all HODs, my fellow faculty members, and our beloved students. A very good morning and a very warm welcome to one and all. Firstly, today I would like to start with a prayer to loving dear God. Dear God, bless and have mercy on Ukraine and its people. Protect them. May this war end soon. May God bless both Russia and Ukraine to live in peace and harmony. Bless all those who lost their life and heal all the sick and comfort all the homeless people and animals. On this note, myself, Dr. Trupti Vikas Patil, feel privileged to welcome you all on behalf of Organizing Committee for the 10th National Conference of 2 days on the role of engineers in nation building, organized by Viva Institute of Technology. Today, we have privilege to have with us expertise from the industries who shall be reflecting on the theme of the conference. It is my great privilege to announce today we have esteemed personalities as our chief guest. Mr. Milind Talati, Director of Elantis Beck India Limited, and eminent personality Mr. Pradeep Ranade, General Manager of Siemens Limited. We are pleased to welcome you, sir, on the eve of our national conference. I would also like to welcome Shri Sanjeev Patil, Ms. Aparna Thakur, Shri Sanjay Pingulkar, Shri S.N. Padhe, Shri K.P.N. Kutti, members of Vishnu Vaman Thakur Charitable Trust. I also welcome principal of various daughter institutes of Vishnu Vaman Thakur Charitable Trust. Dr. Sunita Ogle, Principal of Viva Institute of Pharmacy. Mrs. Sangeeta Patil, Principal of Viva Institute of Applied Arts. Dr. Hiresh Luhar, Principal of Viva Institute of Management and Research. Mr. Chakor Mehta, Principal of Viva Institute of Architecture, and Dr. Arun Kumar, Principal of Viva Institute of Technology. We welcome all our esteemed dignitaries who have joined us here. Thank you so much for making it possible. Well, Albert Einstein once said, which is very apt for this situation, that if we knew what it was we were doing, it would not be called research, would it? It is on the occasion like this we get the opportunities to test our knowledge and understanding. We look forward to get an exposure about what the best of the brains think about this very dynamic issue of role of engineers in nation building. Before we get started, let me throw some light on the purpose of our national conference. The main objective of the national conference is to advance knowledge in science and technology for solving short-term and long-term problems through innovative ideas, concepts, methods in different fields. The role of an engineer is far-reaching and beyond the vistas of human thinking and imagination. The emerging technologies of communications and computing have brought about a revolution in everyday life during the 21st century. The application of science and technology is the main agent of industrial, economic, and social development. Universities, public and research institutes, industries, government, they have to become more closely involved and aware of the importance of cooperation with science and technology to promote sustainable economic, social, and industrial development. Ncrenb 2022 aims at inculcating the research culture into the educational system, wherein undergraduate, postgraduate, doctorate fellows, and delegates from the industries get an opportunity to present their research work. NCRNB 2022 is organized in association with Viva Tech International Journal for Research and Innovation. Total 202 papers from various streams of engineering will be presented in coming 2 days at Viva Institute of Technology under the banner of NCRNB 2022. Also, the best papers from every stream will be felicitated with certificates. So let's move forward now. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, keeping the tradition of our culture and heritage, we will begin with the virtual lamp lightning and taking the blessings of goddesses Saraswati.
या कुन्देतु तुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा शुक्लां ब्रह्मविचारसारपरमाम् आद्यां जगद्व्यापिनीम् वीणापुस्तकधारिणीम् अभयदाम् जाड्यान्धकारापहाम् हस्ते स्फाटिकमालिकां विदधतीम् पद्मासने संस्थिताम् वन्दे तां परमेश्वरीं भगवतीम् बुद्धिप्रदां शारदाम्
Now, I would like to request everyone to please stand for our national anthem.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
I request everyone to be seated. Thank you so much. Moving ahead, I would like to request our chief guest, Milind sir and Pradeep sir, to kindly announce the national conference as now open.
Okay, Mr. Ranade, can you join me? So we would like to announce that the national conference is opened. Wishing you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, I would like to request our principal sir, Dr. Arun Kumar, to kindly address all the delegates of the conference.
Hello. Am I audible, madam? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yes. Respected guests, management members of Vishnu Vaman Thakur Charitable Trust, galaxy of faculty members, students, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning to all of you. On behalf of Viva Institute of Technology, I take this privilege to welcome you all to this national conference on role of engineers in nation building. First of all, I would like to thank to our guest, Sri Milind Talati sir and Sri Pradeep Ranade sir, who accepted the invitation to grace this occasion. Like last year, this year also we have organized a national conference on role of engineers in nation building. And in this regard, I would like to appreciate and thank to all the committee members for organizing this mega event. And because of efforts taken by our faculty members and students, delegates, we could selected around 202 papers for this conference. This is a golden opportunity for all the students and faculty members to excel in different fields. They can share their ideas, views, concepts with the audience so that all will get benefit out of this. Once again, welcome you all to this national conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We really acknowledge your hard work and commitment to our institution. On this note, now I would like to request Mansi ma'am to proceed further with the introduction of the chief guest. Over to you, Mansi ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Before moving ahead, I would request all the participants to kindly mute your mic and camera. And if you have any questions during the session, feel free to write in the chat box. We'll be having two amazing talks by the chief guest of the day, Milind Talati sir and Pradeep Ranade sir. Beginning with Milind sir. Mr. Milind Talati is presently working with Elantis Beck India Limited, earlier known as Dr. Beck, Pune, as a whole-time director, and is on the board of Elantis Beck, which is a German MNC, and it is also listed on stock exchange. He's basically a chemical engineer from ICT, Mumbai, and has followed up with management qualifications. He has started his career with Tata as a graduate engineer trainee and was posted at their sites in Mumbai and Chandigarh. Later, he joined Century Enca Limited, Pune, as a process engineer and rose to become the joint president operations. Post Century Enca, he joined GFL, Gujarat Fluorochemicals Limited, as chief operating officer, after which he joined Elentus Beck as their director. Presently, his work encompasses all the production sites and is responsible for EHS manufacturing, quality, engineering projects, IR and HR, SCM, etc. He is also the president of UAA's chapter, Pune, and is also on the managing committee of the Indian Institute of Chemical Engineers, Pune chapter. It is a great honor to have such an experienced delegate with us for the conference. Today, Milind sir will be sharing his views and will present a talk on the topic of expectations of industries from young engineers. I'm sure this talk is going to be of really benefit for all our students. On this note, I would like to invite Milind Talati sir to share his words of wisdom with all of us. Over to you, Milind sir.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Great. Okay. So, first of all, Dr. Arun Kumar, Mr. Pradeep Ranade, various principals of other Viva colleges, trustees of Viva, various head of departments and professors, and of course the, let me say, my fellow engineers. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to be one of the chief guests at your prestigious national conference. And it's indeed an honor for me. I got this invitation through one of your professors, Professor Kuti sir, who's been my sir many years ago. And for my sirs and for my professors, I will do anything because they are the ones who have shaped me, who have molded me, and kind of made me who I am today. So for my sirs, anything. So actually, Dr. Arun Kumar was telling me the kind of achievements your college has done, right? And I was quite impressed to know about this. And I'm also very impressed by the number of students that are there with you all. So it sounds very interesting. I only wish this COVID business was not there and it could have been a physical interaction rather than this virtual interaction. But maybe next time with hopefully COVID going down. I'm also happy that, I really appreciate Mrs. Patil who gave us in the prayer, and she prayed for both Ukraine and Russia. And that was very nice of you, Patil madam, very nice. And on this occasion today, and today being the World Safety Day, it's a very appropriate prayer. And I can only wish each one of you and your families a very safe days ahead. Okay, so now going on to ahead, just to give you a very small background of where I come from. So the company I work with, Elentus Beck, we make products which go into your everyday life. Each one of you uses a product, and you will question how come. So, for example, you have fans at home, you've got air conditioners at home, your society has got pumps and motors, your society has got transformers, you've got probably gensets, you have two-wheelers, four-wheelers. So we make the insulating chemical which goes on the copper or the aluminum wire of these motors or in your transformers for the winding. So we make those chemicals in very micron thicknesses. So it's a very specialized application. And each one of you are using this chemical. We as a company have probably more than 50% market share in India. Probably Siemens is also one of our customers. And globally also, we got something like 50-60% market share. So I would say we're the global leaders in the business that we do. And why is this relevant to our discussion today? Is that this product is a kind of engineered product made by engineers, used by engineers, and used by society at large. So with this kind of background, let's go a little bit, let's deep dive into what industries expect from young engineers and what could be our role in building our nation. So many years ago, when I was, a fresh engineer, obviously looking for a job, I had no clue, what industry looks like. I had no idea which area I want to work with, and I'll talk to you on these areas a little later. And immediately I was put into shifts. So imagine me, a Mumbaiker like you all, right, working in shifts in some crazy place. Again, I'll come to that. But this taught me many, many things. It taught me a lot of practicalities, which is a greenfield side. So those days, we only knew the Tatas and the Birlas and nobody else. The Reliance and the Adanis and all these guys were yet to come. So at the greenfield site, setting up a site, working with snakes, right? And in an area where you're not allowed to kill snakes, right? So you live and learn. Then working in Chandigarh, working in the heat there, again a Mumbaiker like me, working in the heat, working in the winter chills or something different. But yes, it toughened you. It taught me to work on my feet, to take quick decisions, right? It taught me about equipments, processes, piping, walls, foundations, columns, beams, you name it. So though you may think I'm a chemical engineer, but well, I've kind of obviously had my feet in all the branches of engineering. I did a lot of innovations there, which were far better than what was designed by a lot of, let me say, engineers from the IITs and stuff like that. I worked with labor force, right? And peers, people 20, 30 years elder to me. And that kind of transformed me from being a young boy, from being a boy to a man. It taught me to live on my own. And something which is highly uncommon. Students, please believe me, something which is highly uncommon is common sense. I mean, all of us look for very complicated solutions when there are very simple solutions available. I don't know why, but each one we just think of going into complications. I would recommend that develop your common sense. That's more than enough to be a successful engineer. And it also taught me working with a diverse culture, working with different foods. For example, in Chandigarh, those days, I didn't know what a double roti was. So when I was told, "Hey, why don't you eat double roti?" I said, "Hey, what the shit? What is double roti?" So people took me to a shop and they showed me bread, which was called double roti. I mean, I'm just telling you how naive and, let me say, innocent I was. But then, yes, of course, after that, from that starting there and then eating different foods across the world, right, has it again started from there. So this is what I began with. And the reason why I'm telling you is yes, getting out of your comfort zone is a very, very important step that you need to do. So getting out of Mumbai, Dadar, Virar, going out, seeing the world is extremely important. That broadens your horizons. It teaches you to think differently. And that is what is essential. So with this, starting off as a young engineer and then coming to a certain level where now I interview a lot of engineers, a lot of managers, a lot of people, and seeing that how, you can see the differences in people and you can also make out who are the ones who are really going to go ahead. So coming from that background, let us now look at what is industries. Well, this is just a basic definition of industries. It's an economic activity concerned with the processing of raw materials and manufacture of goods in factories. It's a particular form or branch of economic or a commercial activity. And finally, an activity or a domain in which a great deal of time or effort is expended. Friends, what do we do in industry? We're only converting one form of material to another form of material, which is needed by you and me. So starting with the basic core raw materials available under the earth, on the earth, we are only converting them to finally what you and me use right now. So for example, if you talk of crude extracted from Bombay High and the various refining steps that it goes through, distilling it out, forming 6,000 odd chemicals, interaction of these chemicals to make, for example, the shirt that you're wearing now, maybe it's polyester. So what is polyester? Nothing. It's an hydrocarbon coming from crude. So what is the industry doing? It's only converting this crude to what you're doing now. And it's an economic activity. It's a commercial activity. I'll talk on that in the next minute. And also an area where you and me are spending a lot of time and effort, our entire career, our entire lives, the next 40 years of our lives, we're spending a lot of time physically there. And if you're not physically there in the industry, back home, you keep thinking how you can do things better or what do you need to do. So a great deal of time, effort by you and me, by others is expended there. Now I'm a chemical engineer, so I always talk of mass balances or equations, but of course, each one of you have gone through equations. So typical equation would look like A plus B or M plus N forming a product O plus maybe a side product P. So this is what is desired to make O a side product P starting from M and N. This is the basis. This is what a chemistry guy would do. What does the industry need? Industry wants that your M plus N plus rupees X is lower than O plus P, your product, plus rupees Y. So what is X and Y? X is your overheads, M and N are your raw materials, O is your finished good, P is your maybe a side product, and Y, small y is your profits. And obviously Y has to be greater than X. Or O, the finished good price has to be at a sufficiently high level. So what does the industry do? The industry does is a total focus on the bottom line. How can you do this conversion at a good profit to you? And only once profit is there, then you can think of the other things like a CSR activity where the government says spend 2% minimum on corporate social responsibilities and so on and so forth, right? But the idea is to make Y first, which means convert some raw material to a finished good and earn some money on this. So industry is always going to look at the bottom line any given time. And if you lose this focus on the bottom line or you lose focus on X and Y, then you have many sick industries. I remember the Thane to Vashi belt, which are many renowned chemical industries a few 20, 30 years back. You see none of them today. And when I go on that road, I only see Reliance Knowledge Center coming up on that road from Thane to Vashi.
Nidin, sir.
Yeah.
Nidin, sir, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Are you changing the slides right now? Because we cannot see the change of slides.
Oops, I'm sorry.
No problem, sir. At the bottom, you can see some symbols. Right. Now we can see that.
Okay, I have not come out of the presentation mode. I'm in this mode. So I think I would keep this mode. Is that okay?
Yes, this mode is fine. Right now we can see it.
Okay, great.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay, so now you can see this M plus N plus rupees X has to be less than O plus P plus rupees Y, where X is the overheads and Y is your profits, and obviously Y has to be greater than X. So what I was saying is a total focus on the bottom line is what the industry expects. And once you lose this total focus, then you're out. And I gave the example of the number of chemical industries between Thane on the old road from Thane to Vashi, and there's practically nothing there. Even the industries which are there, I don't think they're doing too well now. And you've seen that Reliance Knowledge Centers acquired that entire piece of land. Many years back at Goregaon, there's a company called Nirlon. doing extremely well. They run at a great cricket team also. But now you see, it's no more there. It's finished. So the bottom line is important. And if you look at the stock exchange, for example, and you have the Sensex, which is 30 stocks, you'll find that these 30 stocks keep changing, right? And why is that? Because companies are coming up, some companies are dying. So the idea is focus on the bottom line. Don't let your industry die. So going ahead, just to give an example, types of industries. In Mumbai, for example, you have mechanical. Larsen & Toubro is a very good example of a company which is involved in nation building. Electrical, Siemens, we have Mr. Ranade who's going to tell us about Siemens. Chemicals, refineries, Reliance. Pharmaceutical, Lupin. Metallurgical, you have Tata Steel doing very well now. Construction, you see Godrej coming up all over. Many other builders in Mumbai. Automation, you got ABB and many others. Aerospace, Air India now coming up in a big way, hopefully. Education also, a lot of professors in private colleges. Energy, Tata Power. Mining, Sesagua, for example. Telecommunications, IT, automobiles. So these are kind of industries coming up. And a very quick view of this, where engineers are engaged. Two-wheelers, TV, steel, refineries, cement, pharma, as you can see. Robotics. In fact, you could design robots. You could use robots. At Century Inca, we use robots, and we could, the kind of precision that you get, the kind of efficiencies you get, is phenomenal. So transmission, trays, EHS, and wind farms. What you see there? This is something that's really going to be upcoming now in the next years as we talk of becoming green, as we talk of reduction of fossil fuels and so on and so forth. So these are the kind of industries that you all could be entering. And once you enter this, which are the kind of areas that you could be looking at? One is hardcore production, manufacturing, to make the goods. You could be in maintenance, which is to maintain the various equipments, processes. Projects could be designing new factories, new plants. You could be involved in debottlenecking of existing plants. Design, which is engineering of parts, engineering of processes, engineering of equipments. Research and development, bringing new products, processes. For example, in my present company, the head of the R&D is a chemical engineer. Quality control, quality assurance, ensure that products, processes are indeed sustainable. Procurement, purchase, negotiation, contracts. You may think, what is the engineer doing here? But believe me, and seeing this and working here with my colleagues, I can see the way an engineer thinks and negotiates, because he knows what goes inside, is far superior than a commercial guy. Sales, to sell your products, services, know your customer. And here also I can tell you, seeing my past bosses who have come from sales background, they are the guys who get the orders to make your factories run. But to get the orders, they have to go in depth. They have to know what the customer wants. How can the customer need your product? So engineers are the best, I would say, to be in sales. SCM, supply chain management, to run logistics. Excellence. This is something really upcoming. You have heard of Six Sigma tools. We use that quite a lot. And the idea is, how can we run at peak efficiencies in every field of work that we do in the industries? Coming to EHS, how can we be accident-free, pollution-free? How can you have healthy people around us? And as I just mentioned in the previous, this is an area which is becoming stronger and stronger in our own country. What it was 20 years back, what it is today. Friends, believe me, I spent maybe, I would say 10-20% of my time on EHS activities. And when you say, what is EHS? The point is, how can you be compliant? How can you be non-polluting? How can you ensure that the society where you and me live in is safe, is healthy, is not getting polluted from industries, and the laws are getting tighter and tighter, which is good from the nation point of view, and I'm very happy with that actually. So, friends and young budding engineers, this is just a very overview. But the point is, if you're joining a company, just check out if the company has an investment plan which could rotate you through various departments, which could probably help you find your feet. That means which area that you would like to focus on, to concentrate in. I was kind of lucky that I've been through most of these departments, and today I head most of these departments. So I was kind of lucky, but it's not necessary that one would like to become a kind of an all-in-one. But somebody can say, I want to specialize in R&D or in design. So it's up to you. It depends on your passion, and I'll come to passion in a few minutes from now. So going on now, what does the industry expect? I'm going to talk on two things. I've got just 2 slides on this. I'm going to talk on the technical expectations, and I'm going to talk on the behavioral expectations. And I'm talking of this, as I told you, after talking to a lot of engineers, working with engineers, interviewing a lot of engineers, right? So what does the industry expect? Obviously, the industry expects competence. And what is competence? It's the ability to do something successfully, efficiently. For example, running your shift, making sure that in the shift, your colleagues, your other engineers, your workers, they're doing it correctly, they're doing it efficiently, they're not creating losses for the company, by the wrong ways of working. Then we talk of skills. And what are skills? It's an expertise. So doing difficult works requires great skills, which comes from practice. So competence is doing something efficiently, successfully. Skill is your expertise is being used. Then we come to education, which is what you're learning now. So the knowledge, the technology. So the facts and information which is acquired through experience or education is one part of the game which you obviously need. And the second part of the game is application of this knowledge to design, to run things, right? And I've just added a word here, no jugaad, please. And that's something I strongly feel about. A lot of my colleagues feel that India is very good in jugaad. Jugaad technology works perfectly. Friends, I'm sorry, coming from now a German background, a German multinational background, and seeing that the way that they work, the processes that they follow, the structured way of working, right? It takes time. No doubt it takes time. But once it is thought through and done in a particular fashion, systematic fashion, friends, believe me, it works first time right. It works forever. It is sustainable. Jugaad for me is a short-term solution that, okay, we do it, forget about the long-term, aage ka aage dekha jayega. So I'm sorry about this, but the application of knowledge, application of systems is very, very important. Now, since we got engineers here from various disciplines, I only talk in general, but the knowledge and the education that you acquire here from your professors is very important, because that is your basic foundations which is inside you. And what you're going to do later on is build on these foundations, use these foundations, and take these foundations far ahead. And the other thing what the industry expects is sticking to schedules, because time is money, time is everything. Everything has to be done on time, preferably before time. And that is something that we all look at, and we don't like delays. So using software like MS Projects, Primavera, etc., is extremely important to make sure that you're sticking to the time. Now coming to the behavioral part, and this is one area that I feel very strongly. And I hope, Dr. Arun Kumar, you have some courses on the behavioral. because this is something, these kind of things come from within, and this within is what the industry would like. And when I say industry, okay, this is a general term, but this is something what everyone would like. So let me talk of, say, the behavioral aspects that we're looking at. One is teamwork. Friends, tomorrow you're going to be working with your colleagues, with your workers, with your peers, with different departments, with your bosses, later with consultants, with contractors, with customers, with suppliers. So everything is teamwork. Last evening, I couldn't take a call from Dr. Arun Kumar because I was on a call last evening with my global colleagues across the world. And again, we are working on a global project there. And it's important that with this global way of working, that you understand how different people think, what they say, what they don't say, what they meant to say, and then working hand in hand to achieve global ambitions. So teamwork is very, very important. The next thing that I would like to talk about is passion. Now I'm going to take a pause here. I'm going to ask each one of you, of course you don't need to answer me now, but please answer yourself. I'm going to ask a question to each one of you. The question is very simple. It's just 3 words. The question is, what drives you? Let me repeat the question. What drives you? Just think on it. May not be an easy answer for some, like me. Many years back, my boss asked me this question. Incidentally, today he is the CEO of an American company in the US. He asked me this question, and I really found it difficult to answer. What drives me? What drives you to take that 8:37 morning local from, for example, Dahisar to Virar? What drives you? So friends, if you can answer this question, what drives you, that would bring out the passion in you. And you would then kind of be enthusiastic about the work that you do. And once you're enthusiastic about what you're doing, which is what the industry, your colleagues, what you want. So for me, passion, a strong feeling or emotion, is something, maybe possibly the most important word in this slide. So think about it, what drives you, and maybe if you have the answers, it's good for you, because then you possibly know where you want to go. Going ahead, we have trust. So trust is a reliance on a person or an object. And when you're working in the industry, obviously you have to trust your colleagues that they're doing things right. And today being a World Safety Day, you need to make sure, and for me, for example, working in a hazardous plant, I need to trust that my workers, my colleagues have done the thing right. Because if they're not done it right, they added a wrong chemical, let the temperature go up, pressure go up, there could be a blast. So this trust is extremely important. And talking of blast, friends, believe me, I have seen deaths in my life in the industry, and that kind of shakes your trust if you know that the other guy is not trustworthy. Then coming to ethics. Friends and young engineers, maybe this may not bother you so much today at your stage of your career. But as you go up the ladder, ethics is something, the moral principles is something very, very important. And that is something that the trustees, the owners would be looking at. Is this guy ethical, not ethical, right? And that's very, very important for, let me say, professional companies. Then we are looking at you for assertiveness behavior. What is assertiveness? It's a confident behavior, the behavior to stand up for your rights and express yourself. What could be different kinds of behaviors? You could have aggressiveness, you could have passiveness, You could have somebody being manipulative. So obviously, aggressiveness, passiveness, manipulativeness does not help the organization. We're looking at guys, we're looking at engineers who are confident and who can call a spade a spade. Openness. There are some people who would, immediate reaction is no, So that's something we wouldn't like. We would like you listen to others, be receptive to new ideas, new opinions, and that also helps in trust and teamwork. Commitment. This is an agreement to do something in future. Yes, we're all looking for committed people. We're always looking for committed boys, right? And that's again something very, very important. Then talking of communication, friends, communication could be verbal, could be non-verbal, and maybe that's the reason why I like physical interactions rather than these virtual platforms. I would say verbal interactions are just 30% of the message that you want to convey. 70% of your message is conveyed through non-verbals, through your body language. So that's why this verbal, non-verbal communication skills are extremely important. And in communication, your report writing, your email writing, your presentations are extremely, extremely important. Then we come to loyalty, which is support to the organization. Now, the organization has invested in you. And if you decide to leave in a short time, a year and 2 years, then when you go to the next organization, the next industry, people look at you and they wonder, hey, this guy, he's already switched 5 jobs in 5 years. Is he reliable? Is he worth taking? So, okay, there's no hard and fast rule here, but spending 3 to 5 years giving back to the organization what they've invested in you would be a good idea. And friends, finally, self-confidence. We need that. We expect that. It's like Shreyas Iyer hitting, those lovely 4s and 6s in the last 3 one-days, T20s, I'm sorry. So the confidence that you exhibit, right, is something that is extremely desirable and something that we look at. So, friends, technical skills, behavioral skills is something what the industry expects. So going forward, so today you have got technical skills, you got behavioral skills. What next? As young engineers, it is expected that you obviously will perform to the best of your abilities and meet the commitments. You don't need to be followed up, I'll share a secret with you guys. I spend a lot of my time in follow-up. Believe me, you would think at my level, you don't need to follow up, but I need to do that. And this follow-up is frustrating. So if you could, already keep running ahead, no follow-up, which would then bring me to the bullet F, would make your superior's life easy. C is then exceed the expectations. Yes, there are expectations from you. Is it possible you could exceed that? And obviously, that is then well liked, well appreciated. Can you be innovative? Can you show your smartness? Can you do things faster, better, smoother, lower cost? That would then show your potential. And then you're earmarked. You're already earmarked. For example, we have talent management cycles that somebody's career path is defined, right? And when I say career path is defined, even the development needs of the person are defined. And to make the developments of that person happen, there are trainings organized within India, globally, with the global colleagues. So you get aware of a different flair of life and dealing with others. I've already spoken about making your superior's life easy. So this is something that would happen. And with this, what happens? You get appreciation, you get your rewards, you get your career path. Last but not the least is self-satisfaction. Again, friends, I believe self-satisfaction, that when you go home, satisfied that you have done a good job today, satisfied that something that you designed, implemented is working well. Friends, self-satisfaction is something nobody can give you. It's all internal. Appreciation, rewards, career path is something that companies will give you. Self-satisfaction is an internal, and that is something you will live on, something you'll remember. You'll forget your promotion, you'll forget your reward, you'll forget your increments. You will not forget the self-satisfaction. That's something that you have done with your own hands and succeeded. That feeling is fantastic. So finally, what is the future product for you guys? Brick and mortar. That means our disciplines of engineering are here to stay. They will coexist. Okay, you may see IT running ahead, but don't worry. IT has to coexist with brick and mortar industries. Basic engineering skills and common sense will still be in short supply. And I'm telling you the statement after decades in the industry, that basic engineering skills and common sense are still in short supply. So don't worry, as long as you got these two skills. The future, yes, it's getting highly automated. It's getting green. It's becoming sustainable, which is also good for all of us. Digitalization and artificial intelligence will drive in changes. Yes, no doubt about it. But again, the basic skills will remain. So my final message to my young friends, things will keep changing. That's part of life. Accept it, deal with it, keep learning, and the last bit, enjoy life. Try your best. I know there are difficult circumstances, but enjoy life. So a big thank you for listening to me. I wish you good luck in your respective careers, and also today's topic and on your role in nation building. Possibly I'd like to see students from Viva colleges to be at the forefront in the years to come, right? Leading the show. And with such lovely national conferences, with such lovely themes, the role of engineers in nation building. And I just heard you speaking 202 papers that are going to be presented. I can say that there's a lot of potential there in your college, and I wish you good luck, and I wish also good luck to the professors to embark you on this, push you on this career. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. If any faculty or student would like to ask any question, sir, you're most welcome. This is a great opportunity.
Good morning, everyone. This is Swapnil Raut. I will first of all thank you, Milind sir, for enlightening us with some crucial points for our students to how to build themselves or to build their profile with respect to all aspects for an industrial approach. One question from me is, as a faculty member of an engineering institute, what according to you shall we do extracurricular other than giving them exposure regarding academics to our students, so that we can bridge the gap between the industry and the institute? So if you can please guide us regarding this.
Raut, thank you for your words. Let me tell you one thing. I still remember all my professors from college. They taught us well. They pushed us into industry. One thing that I missed in college, and what I mentioned in one of my slides, is the behavioral part, right? So the extracurricular activities you could look at is group discussions, speaking skills, right? Interpersonal skills, team working. If you could do something on those lines, I I think that would be also good. I could just give you one example of my own son who did mechanical engineering from a college in Pune. So these guys did a project called Baha, building an automobile, that kind of vehicle with an engine and competing. And these kids spent weeks together in building that vehicle. And I think in that process, they learned the behavioral skills and applied knowledge. So the professor, the head of the mechanical engineering department, for example, he was totally associated with them. And the kind of bonding between the professors and the students when they were doing this was phenomenal. And still my son, he respects that a lot. Does it answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you. And I would like to inform you that the Department of Mechanical Engineering at Vivan Institute of Technology has already has these teams, as you mentioned, the Baha team, and we have actually 3 to 4 different teams. One we have with what we can say the ATV with respect to fuel. The second one which we have with respect to the electrical, what we can say power, and we have 2 more teams. One is our RCR team, which goes for the RC plane competition, and one more we have with us right now. Recently, we have started is the ISHRE, which is collaborated with the HVAC industries.
Very nice. Good to hear that. But
Thank
just
you.
if you could involve more of your students, not
Yes.
just a small bunch,
Sure, sir. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kapil sir and Milind sir. Thank you, Milind sir. I extend my sincere gratitude to you for the highly informative session that you shared with us. The effort you put in to make our young engineers understand the expectations from industries is highly appreciable. We totally agree with you on the point of how important it is to get out of the comfort zone to grow in life. Our students definitely got a good overview of different kind of industries that they could work in and importance of engineers in all departments, be it sales, quality or safety. Thank you for highlighting the expectation of industries from young engineers in both technical and behavioral perspective. This will definitely help to bridge the gap between institute and industry. I'm sure students will also think on your question of what drives you and find their passion in life and excel in everything they do. It was an honor to hear from you, sir. I'm sure your words of wisdom will be source of inspiration and motivation for all our students. We are grateful to you for taking time out from your busy schedule and joining us here. Looking forward to more such interactions in near future. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Moving ahead, we have one more speaker with us. It is time to introduce one more prominent personality that we have with us today, Mr. Pradeep Ranade. Pradeep sir is currently working as General Manager at Siemens Limited for the Division of Engineering and Product Development. He has completed his BTech in Mechanical Engineering, IIT Varanasi, and MTech in Machine Design from IIT Madras. In his professional career, he has worked with various renowned companies. He started his career as design and development engineer at Voltas. Later on, he worked as development engineer at Atlas Copco Company, Pune. Then he moved towards senior manager, Crompton Limited, chief manager, Siemens, senior deputy general manager, Larsen and Toubro Limited. Now that's such a versatile list of experiences to whom. We are really obliged to have Pradeep sir with us today. Pradeep sir is going to address one more amazing topic. He will present a talk on role of engineers to make Atmanirbhar Bharat, where he will discuss about engineering marvels that make us proud from ancient to latest achievements of India, how young engineers should think and how they can achieve their dreams, how they can contribute towards Atmanirbhar Bharat and while continuing to do their functions diligently, including new sunrise areas in engineering along with some interesting case studies. I'm sure all students are really excited to hear all of this interesting perspective from Sir. On this note, I would like to invite Pradeep Sir to begin with his session. Over to you, Pradeep Sir.
Yes, thank you very much for the introduction. I respected members of the National Conference, respected principals of various colleges of VIT, and HODs, and all the eminent teachers and professors who create all these students for the next generation. I am greatly indebted to all of you, and particularly to our principal, Professor Arun Kumarji, who had given me this chance to have spoken here. So I thank him that he gave me the chance to speak here. It's very nice to address young students. And the madam who had introduced me said I am still working as a general manager in Siemens Fair, but I was. And I retired in October and I've rejoined back in January. So that keeps me active again, but that's fine. So now I'm retired already. But after looking at life in its full activities, and luckily I had the chance also to move through various industries, I could say that yes, I have seen a lot of things which make me proud about India. And in the end, I feel this is one of the best countries. I mean, this is not coming as a standard textbook statement, but after you look at various things in India, I had a chance to go to USA, frankly, in '86, which I denied, and somehow it happened that I stayed back in India. For 1 or 2 years, I was feeling little odd that why did I stay here and all that. In more than me, my professors were more unhappy that I was here. But then things went on, and today I will say I'm in the best place situation. This is the best country to be in today, the most progressive, the most stable. You see the world. There are two things which I want to just touch upon here before I start my formal topic. One is Atmanirbhar Bharat as a concept was always there, even before it was propounded by our respected Prime Minister Modi ji. It was in the hearts of many people, but two big things in the recent past have given a lot of strength to this view. One is in the COVID situation, when everybody was thinking that we will be completely doomed and there will be a lot of starvation deaths and India is a poor country and all that, we have come out very well. Our death rate, by God's grace, was very low. Maybe our resistance, maybe our vaccine efficacy. Whatever we did with our heart, and we did with a sense that we are working for India. See, this is very important. Now, it's very important that with what sense you work. As even Milinji was saying, a lot of things depends on your behavioral thing, which I agree. I had a chance to be in Japan for 9 months. I had a chance to be in Germany for 9 months during the tenure of my various industrial life. And I have seen these two countries very closely. It's very difficult to compare them, but both are great. I didn't have a chance to go to USA, though I have a lot of relatives there. But the point is, I feel at looking at various industries that yes, the Germans are very, very strong in their processes, in the way they put out their industry sheets, in the way they talk about how to achieve the goals. And I was much surprised that even Japanese learned a lot of things from Germany. And they also learned something very special from India, which is on the statistical side, which they use in the chemical industry a lot. So those are some of the things. But anyway, I'll not touch upon that. I will quickly come to the point that both these countries have a lot of sense of national pride. And they have made these countries powerful after World War II, even after going to, I don't know what, I can use the term going to dogs. They have come in a way that people are now finding it difficult to compete with these countries. They are the topmost in the world today. So much so that even America has a few industries, no doubt, but they're more on the commercial side and on the commodities side. If you talk of industry per se and what an engineer would love, then these two are the countries. So I had a chance to be here. And more than that, I had a chance to see how much they have the national sentiments. And if that has made them great, why not we also instill something in us? And that is how I'll take it forward. But one thing I always realize, that you cannot be great without you being proud of your culture and you being proud of your country. Sometime back I said I felt little bad when I didn't go to States. But today I don't feel so, and I want to emphasize that for every young engineer. Don't have that thinking that I'll be well settled in America. You can be well settled in India also, and you can have a very good life and a very great life. In all these companies where I worked, I had a chance to do something new and something interesting that sort of answers partly the question that Mr. Milinji had asked, what drives you? So that exactly drives me. And today also, when I'm back in Siemens, I want to do something new over there, which is good for Siemens India. It may not be, it is a little different from Siemens Germany. I'm going out of their catalogs and out of their range, but that's through my experience and other things. What I'm trying to say is, are you able to do something for your country? That is more important. So exactly like John F. Kennedy had said, don't think what America has done for you. Think what you are doing for America. So in the same way, we should say, don't think what India has done for you. Think what you have done for India. Give India more than what you take from India. That way, India will progress. So, first of all, I must say that we are a 5,000-year-old civilization. It's very difficult to remain a 5,000-old civilization, whether you are an engineer or not. This is a fact. And then we have lived based on our principles of justice, fairness, creativity, and the most important principle, live and let live. I was talking about the 2 points. One point I touched upon, COVID has taught us a lot of things and taught us how to be self-reliant, created a lot of digital platforms in India, and again pushed us into an era which we wanted to go to, but maybe without COVID, it would have taken 10 years. Now we are on it and we want to improve it further. So much so that today, when I compare with the banks that are there in Germany, and the way they try to do the transactions and the way the banks are doing the transactions in India in the digital form, they're far quicker, far stronger, and far transparent. And you get the messages immediately on your mobile. So, yes, some of the good things have happened, which we wanted. There was a lot of wish of this government to go that far, to give electricity to all, to give gas to as many people, to give roads to as many places. I'm not making a political statement, but this is what is Atmanirbhar Bharat. To the next big point is, unfortunately so, and let me also point out here, I have a lot of appreciation for what Dr. Trupti had said. She said that she wants God to be kind to both Russia and to Ukraine. But I was about to come to this point only, that in this war, where Ukraine around 8 years ago, this war is not new. In 2014, Ukraine lost a small province to Russia. Now, everyone knows Russia is very big, and we also know that. Luckily, we have good relations with them. But they are big and they are powerful, and if they become stubborn, they can create a lot of trouble. So Ukraine wanted or was given some assurances, so-called, that's what people say. I don't have the exact documents that USA and UK told them, we will make you a NATO country and all that, somehow, at least a EU country to start with and then subsequently a NATO country. And today you see what happens. They are not doing anything for them. They are just giving some lip service from outside, and the people are dying there. And it's very difficult. It's a war for which will be detrimental to both the countries, but definitely far more to Ukraine than to USSR. This has made me think that yes, self-reliant is important. We need defense. We need defense in a big way. There was a time when Gandhiji in 1947 said, we don't need any army. We don't need any defense. We only have police force. When I was in Japan, I saw only police force over there. There was no defense. In fact, Japan never makes any nuclear things, nuclear weapons or weapons for that matter, because that's part of their constitution. They say we don't make anything that is supplied for war. And now they are moving out of it after looking at the Taiwan example. When I see that what happened to us, a very belligerent neighbor like Pakistan that has always put us on our feet, and we have to be self-reliant on so many aspects. Further, when China, another big country, another big economic power, I don't have to tell you more about it, is also trying to, threaten us. We have got back in a very big way and tried to oppose. And not oppose like Ukraine, such a strong opposition that they have to rethink whether they can have the ability or whether they have the ability to at all hit India. So it's not easy that a $2.5 trillion country can change the course of events of a $19 trillion country, which is very close to the American economy. That has happened with the strong sense of self-reliance. Everyone has the birthright to love his country. I mean, you can't tell me that why I should love my country. That's natural, and that's for us. And the more we do it, the more we can defend ourselves and our civilization, which lives on the principle of live and let live. Most of the wars are coming because this principle is sort of thwarted: live and let live. People have come and gone. People have raised us to ground and they have gone, but we have still lived on. And those people have converted into the Indian civilization. We did not convert ourselves. We were where we are. They converted. They liked our civilization and they absorbed our civilization. So that makes me proud of India, and that is about our greatness in the past. But as an engineer, what do we look at? We gave zero, one of the biggest things that we gave to the world. We gave Vedic mathematics that made calculations look so simple. And possibly some of our sutras and other things which we are not knowing so well, which a lot of research working is going on in Germany on that, based on Sanskrit and the way the sutras are have to be derived in mathematical form. They are really solutions of some very difficult equations, typically on the uh, second order, third order integral solutions of some big equations. So frankly, let's not go into the unknowns. But what we know is, yes, at least Vedic mathematics is there, zero is there. We had a strong scientific temper right from so many years. It's not for today. And not only in mathematics, it's there in medical science, it's there in yoga as a behavioral science. And further, it's also talking about how our mental makeup can be so good. All these countries in the West, when you go there, you see a lot of, they're all single people. They are not united in the family. In India, when you come, you see a big family. When you go there, you don't see that sort of a family that you see in India. You don't get that sort of a support that you get in India. So further than that, beyond the family, there is also that extra support that we are required to have through yoga. The less I talk about the yoga, it is better, because I'm not a yoga teacher, but yoga is now so popular. Everyone accepts yoga in the world. And that is again coming out of scientific temper. Initially, yoga is looked at for just healthiness. Later on, you can go into the further of the spiritualness. You can evolve a lot of powers out of it if you do a lot of meditation, and so many more things can come. I was also listening to Mr. Milinji when he was talking about the things that he learned when in his company as a Dr. Beck, which is a German company, which I have also learned because Siemens is also a German company. Now, there we should have the best of all the things in India. We should have the best of Germany, best of Japan, best of America. So we will become the best. And we have a chance to do that. In fact, our culture allows us to absorb so many things that we can take the best of all, and now we can grow. Okay, so far so good. So we should also be happy that even in old times, in the times of Mr. Vishweshwarya, when I was at Mysore and I'd gone there for some other official work, I saw the Vishweshwarya Dam, and I was surprised that this dam was built so early, in somewhere around 1910 or so. Then I also had a chance to visit Periyar Dam in Kerala, which was built somewhere in 1850, 1860s. Bhakra Nangal was built a little recently. Some of the great constructions. So that gives us hope that yes, we can also do something great. What we are doing today is far greater. The type of tunnels we are building in Jammu Kashmir. These are the things that make us proud that yes, we as Indians can do something great. From a time when Tata's was thrown away in UK, where he wanted to build his steel industry somewhere around early 1900s or so, where Britishers clearly told him India is not worth making steel. And then he went to Bethlehem Steel. He had some alliance with some American groups. And somewhere in 1912, he started steel making in India in a small way at Jamshedpur. Why I'm telling you all this? Now see that courage of that man. He could also have gone to USA. He could have also gone to UK at that time and become a millionaire. But he wanted to be in India. He developed big industries here. And now today, Tata is the cheapest steel manufacturer in the world. Forget in India. And they have the latest chorus technology for making the steel. Similarly, India has started from nearly nowhere in automobiles, And today we are exporting a lot of two-wheelers through Bajaj, through Hero, and through TVS. We are making small cars in the cheapest form again. I mean, I'm just not referring to Nano. So many more of Maruti, so many more of other makes, local makes, Tata makes, everything. We make the cheapest small car in the world. People are not able to beat the Indian price. So from nowhere we have come to do the cheapest things. And why I'm saying the cheapest? Quality wise, it is excellent, but it is cheapest, and then it has a wide market, because what is the industry saying? The industry wants something at the cheapest price, which we are able to give. So that answers the question that yes, Tata's is giving a good quality steel, but it is the cheapest. Earlier, the Korean steel was cheapest. Now the Tata steel is cheapest. Similarly, very close to Tata is again JSW steel. That also is fairly cheap. Indian manufacturers, which I told you, again in the pharma side, they started from nowhere. They were small labs here and there. Now they have grown into big labs. It started with Ranbaxy, but then due to some bad practices, they had some problems. But Lupin stayed on, Cipla stayed on, and a whole lot of pharma industry stayed on. So we have a lot of things to be proud about. What is our current standing? Our GDP in 1947, when we just got independence, of course, I took it from Google, was around 2.4 lakh crore rupees. When you convert it into dollar terms but then dollar was very cheap. It was 3.3 rupees per dollar. So it was around $0.7 trillion. Today, this GDP has grown close to 188 lakh crore in 2020. And we are talking of around 2.5 trillion economy, which is fifth in the world. So from nowhere, we have become fifth. That gives us the pride that yes, if we move on in this way, we can further become Atmanirbhar, and further we can even take the first position or second position. It's not so important in the position you take. It's so important in the strength that you feel about your position. If you are, even if you are fifth, and if you feel on the top of the world, that is okay. That's fine. But you should feel that, or you should feel for your people. You should feel that there is nobody poor in India. That I'll take care of the minimum needs of everybody, the minimum food needs, the minimum work needs of everybody. And then you can have a competition. People can have salaries as high as even 100 crores a year, CTC. You get those salaries in IIT people nowadays. Most of the banks and other people are giving those salaries for engineers. And that's coming in the papers. I am not putting it out. So at that young age of 21, if they can get in crores, why not 100 crores at the age of 60? They can. So I'm not saying that, but try to ensure that nobody is poor. You don't try to extract somebody or oppress somebody and then make your wealth. Make your wealth by making the other people also happy to a minimum extent, and then you make your wealth. That is fine. We go further. India has a lot of projects today which are related to rural housing, roads, railways, connectivity in Northeast. You might be surprised that only Assam had some train linkages, and that too on the northern side. It had a meter gauge for quite a long time. Today everything is going to broad gauge, and we are now trying to connect each and every capital of the Northeast by trains. It's a very difficult thing. The terrain there is very horrible. Similarly for Jammu and Kashmir. So some of the big things are happening in India, which we thought will never happen. But in spite of that, there are innumerable pending projects in various walks of life of engineering. Now, if we talk of India in particular, where do we spend most of our foreign exchange? In crude oil imports. And when the crude oil is, yesterday I think it was around $110, $111 per barrel, and today it is around $116 per barrel. And now we feel that yes, this is going to hit us, because most of our money is going on in buying the crude. 85% of the crude we are importing. So can we do something here that we reduce our imports? Can we do something by which, the money is circulated within India? Can we use gas which is coming from India and replacing the crude oil, replacing the diesel, replacing the petrol, or what else we can do? So these are some of the questions to be asked. These will make us more and more Atmanirbhar. Atmanirbhar means, yes, it's not that you are 100% not dependent on anybody in the world, but you can have alternate means. Tomorrow, when you don't get a particular, suppose, raw material, you don't get lithium, then you can always switch on to something and still make your batteries. That means Atmanirbhar. We have to utilize and explore new gas fields, in India, which are there in the Krishna Godavari basin, which are locked right now, both by ONGC as well as by Reliance, and which we should use for our own internal consumption rather than using petrol and diesel in a big way. Because the more we use it, the more we spend our hard-earned foreign exchange. We have to focus on developing cheaper batteries from non-rare earth materials. Everyone knows that the lithium battery has the highest electrical density, but not really for an engineer. He can always try and do something which is out of the box, out of the world, and make something new. People are working on sodium, for example, and everyone knows that sodium is not giving the type of energy density that lithium is giving. But then you can alloy it, you can do something more. You can, or you can even make it with whatever it has, you make it more compact, and that's what the engineers do, and somehow make it usable. We have to increase, typically I'm talking of the new sectors. I'm not talking of civil engineering, which I've already touched upon, basic chemical engineering in pharma, in chemical industries. We are making a lot of specialty and I didn't know of so much. In fact, I only knew about Dr. Beck because we buy a lot of chemicals from them. And as he had also said, they go into electric motors. And I'm also saying the same thing. Yes, Dr. Beck is a very renowned company in the chemical sector, and we use a lot of their chemicals. But definitely there are far more other specialty chemicals also in the market, where we started from nowhere and where we have to go further. We have to beat China. We have to beat them in their cost, which we can, and we can do it better. Possibly the Chinese chemical industries are reducing because they are having enough problems with effluents and all that, as what Mr. Milin will agree. There are a lot of EHS problems which they are now trying to improve. And as they improve that, the cost goes up because nothing comes free. But then the environment is protected. We are already having a democracy, and we are already having all those, checks and balances by which chemical industries will not put all the effluents into the rivers directly. Some such thing used to happen with the leather industry in Kanpur and other areas in UP. But then that is also now reduced because now as they are trying to clean up Ganga river, they have understood that all these wastes are coming in, and now central government has made the law stricter. I have studied long back in BHU IT, Varanasi. I know what BHU is, what Varanasi is, how the cities were. And today, when I went to Varanasi after many years to Renukut for selling some motors at both the NTPC plant and as well as the Hindalco plant over there, I couldn't believe my eyes. I could not see that such excellent expressways are there, such excellent connectivity is there. And then within 2-3 hours from a very remote location, I could come to Varanasi airport, take a flight and come back to Mumbai. All these things which were just impossible some time ago are now becoming possible. And it is for you as the younger generation to take it to a higher level where you can say with pride that, okay, we got this much from our senior people and this we have added extra. So what is the extra you can add? We have a great coastline. We have, I don't know the exact number, but you can Google it, maybe 2,300 kilometers of coastline. What are we doing with it? We are not having that many ships. We are not having that many waterways also. We are having excellent rivers in northern side, in the southern side, on so many areas. But we are not using our rivers. Now, okay, on the sea, you don't get an up and down. The sea has the same level everywhere. But when you go to river, yes, you can say that now there is a waterfall. What do I do? So there are gate systems. If you see how the 7 Great Lakes of America in the Michigan area are connected, then ships move from one state to other state over there also, and they move up or they move down in meters. I'm not talking of some small values, 10 meters up, 8 meters up from lake to lake by gate systems. So such systems are now available. In fact, I in L&T had worked on these gate systems. And I had worked on something about ship lift, which I had talked of earlier also in your college some time back. But these are some of the new things that we have to look at. We have to build garages for ships. We have a lot of garages for cars and automobiles. In gully mein ek chota dukan rehta hai, where we can take our scooter for repair or car for repair. What do you have for a ship? You mean ship doesn't get spoiled? Underneath of the ship gets rusted. What do you do with it? You have to take it on the ground. You have to clean it. You have to weld those rusted portions. You have to remove those rusted portions, weld new sheets, put it back in the sea. There are processes and procedures for that. But are we able to do that? Can we do that? Is there a big market? I'm telling you, there's a big market. This is what the young generation can do in the long run. We are very low on aircraft manufacturing. Neither are we making any great military aircraft, except for the Tejas now with a lot of government push, nor are we making any um, commercial aircraft. Okay, you don't fight with, you don't compete with Boeing, that may be too big at this moment, or you don't compete with Airbus, but can you at least compete with the Canadian makes, which are making small propeller engines and which you can do in India? So these are some of the things which we need. If you see the Gati Shakti of what our Prime Minister is talking, he's saying that you have to reduce the logistics cost of goods traveling from one end to other end in the country, which is as high as around, I think I was told 16%, and which is somewhere around 8-9% in USA, Europe, and those. So good countries which have good logistics will have only 8% cost, and we have 16% cost. And do you know where the big cost goes? Into the trucks. Most of our movement of materials is by trucks. It is the most silly thing to do. Most, I mean, I don't know what, I would regret it. And we are very happy to do it because trucks are most reliable. Though our roads are fairly useless, our trucks move on that like ships move on water up and down, because they have so many khaddas. Because of today's good highways, now we can see good things. But can you, as engineers, go into these areas to build good roads, to build good infrastructure? Can you go into logistics companies? Government wants to privatize Concor. Why? Because government has realized that they cannot do the logistics the way the industry wants. They cannot give the reliability in railways the way the industry wants. The trucks give that reliability. Hence, trucks are sought after, even when we know that truck is the costliest logistics operation. Even then we are relying on trucks, because the time is important in the industry. You cannot delay my consignment forever, or it get lost in the way. For example, a lot of coal comes from Jharkhand. Do you know how much of it gets, I may say, spilled or thrown? But frankly, a lot of it gets stolen in the way. Can we reduce this? So government wants to come with private rail lines that are operated by private people, PPP, private public ownership, and they want to do it in a way where government also gets the money. The assets are not sold to a private company, but the private company will use the assets properly. Can we go into these areas of new logistics, quick logistics, easy tracking? Why we like DHL? Because we can track the goods. You can also track the goods on railways, nothing wrong. So look at those areas which will make India powerful, where the transport cost will come down. Look at the areas where you can make waterways for India. This I could not do in my time, but this I would like you to do in your time. Try to see that we are at a digital payment, I don't know how much percent, maybe 30%, 40%, that zone, luckily because of COVID. But can we go to 80-90% of all our payments in the digital form? That will be a very quick, checkmate for all the black money that's there in India. Then we go further. What is the minimum that we can expect from a normal Indian? Okay, you are not an engineer. What is the minimum still you can do as an Indian? You can make aware within our networks, our national problems, our national priorities, and think of it. Yesterday, I saw a chief minister like Mamata Banerjee telling that India should have evacuated the Ukrainian citizens 3 months ago. This is not becoming of a chief minister. She's talking nonsense. And sorry, this is not a forum where I am dealing politics, but then there has to be some understanding of national priority and national problem. Just because you are in opposition, you can't talk any shit that you want. So you have to talk something sensible. Government is making so many efforts. Rather than trying to appreciate it, you are okay, don't appreciate, at least don't talk ulta. So we have to then see that as Indians, what we can do, because there are people have understood that India is growing very fast. The type of speed at which we are growing is today faster than in China, or around close to that of China. And people don't want it. People don't want us to grow. You will be surprised. European Union, America, Japan is not having that sort of a view, but these two, yes, I can talk of them. They don't want us to grow that fast. because we are a direct threat to them. That's how they look at it. But we have the principle of live and let live. We will also live and we'll make you live also. We are not going to attack you. So nobody has to be afraid of India. And we as Indians have to have that spirit. Nahi yaar, ye mera desh hai. These are my people. These are my poor people. I should take care of them. If somebody is needy, I should take care of them. If I can generate wealth, I should give a part of it without even thinking where the donation is going. I should see if I can do something for my country. So that is about Atmanirbhar Bharat. Things will automatically happen. You will get a Tejas which will beat Rafale within next 5 years. I can tell you. But is the willpower there? For example, we have to do something now as engineers. We have to do something more. Of course, as national people, we have to also pay our taxes correctly, so that that finally goes to all the development needs of our country. But then, as engineers, what more we can do? So, okay, we should work in various new manufacturing lines where we have domestic consumption. A lot of goods which otherwise were not getting consumed some time ago. For example, ACs, fridge, a lot of consumer durables. These are now getting more and more into the circulation, even right up to the rural sector. I can see that even a small house of a fairly medium class farmer in a village will have a fridge, will have some equipment so as to make things easy for the lady to do her food processing. So all these things, can we get into all this? Can we get into the energy sector, which is the talk of the day? Can we go into renewables? As Siemens, we have worked a lot in renewables in the wind side. We were not so much in the solar side, but we, at least in India, we are there a lot in the wind side. So we have been able to harness the wind power in the southern areas of the windy areas of, I think, I forgot the name, but in the Tamil Nadu side. There are a lot of windmills there. In the near and around Aman there are a lot of windmills, Supa area and Satar area. Then again at the Gujarat side, there are a lot of windmills. And now the next windmills could come into the oceans, or they could come a little away from the coast. They will come in the sea, and the electricity will be sent by big cables from the windmills to the land side. This is happening on the South China Sea. A lot of South China sea areas are seeing windmills which are around 10 to 15 kilometers away from the coastline, and they generate power in the sea. It is very easy to generate power in the sea. You have to build a stable structure, and then you get a stable electricity all along. So can we do something like that? Can we do something in the hydel side, which is again non-renewable? Sorry, hydel is okay through the river water, but can we do something on the coastal side where we are harnessing energy from the waves? Wave energy is a big energy. Go to France. They have some great wave energy centers over there. Those are, of course, pilot, but we can make it better. Some work is already going in IIT Madras on that. And can we make it better? Can we work on service creation on the logistics? Can we work on the IT side and telecom side, which we are anyway good at? And that's our plus point. And that's what we are exporting our IT services and telecom services all across the world. Can we do something more in that? Can you get into that? So these are some of the, can you get into defense? Everyone, no defense. Why no defense? Why no defense? Why I don't have the right to safeguard myself? That's my fundamental right. I have to safeguard myself. And with such complicated neighbors like Pakistan and China, whose morality one cannot even understand what's going on. And we should be careful about us. We will not attack anybody, but if somebody attacks us, we will not leave that guy. Can we have that strength? Can we have that spirit that yes, we need a defense production which is so powerful? And today, in first time, possibly in so many years after independence, we have sold the first lot of BrahMos to Philippines. And there's a talk of trying to sell some other missile system to UAE. Can you beat it? We are in defense. We should be in defense. We will be in defense. A country like Japan, who had in its constitution, I will not make any defense equipments. After the problems in the South China Sea and Taiwan, now they have started amending their constitution. They want to go to defense. So defense is very important. Australia, which was comparatively little sober up to this time, is now all out in the quad. The less I talk, the better it is. So we have also to come in defense, and defense is a big area, and defense is the area that will make us Atmanirbhar. Can we go into that? Can we go into oil and gas exploration? I can tell you of a small company as Siemens. We are working with MEIL, and MEIL started with a very small group making welded seamless pipe, welded ERW pipes for municipal corporations. From that, it grew. Now it is making very big, you know, uh, water projects. Water projects means in the south, in the southern side of India, there are rivers which are flooding only for 15 days or at the most 1 month in the monsoon time. After that, there's no water. But there's so much water in that time that it will flood the whole area near the banks, and all the good potable water will be lost to the sea. Suppose I have a chance to take this water and fill it into reservoirs, which are artificial reservoirs, which are created on the mountain side with some amount of one side getting sealed by the proper civil construction. Then these are artificial reservoirs that can store water for a long time and in large volumes. In fact, I have had the chance and the privilege in Siemens to work with MEIL on one such project at Karnataka. And we are trying to take that water, flood water, and put it up in 70 meters above into reservoirs. That reservoirs then with a canal system is able to irrigate an area of 100-kilometer radius. Can you beat it? How much rich farmers you can expect? Because see, once you have water, then the farming will happen. Otherwise, farming doesn't happen. So much of wealth you have created. So can you get into these industries which will, create, which will use the water effectively? I'm not saying you don't create water from anywhere. Or, okay, reverse osmosis system that you can see the first running plant is in Chennai. Now we are looking at areas wherever we have problems, for example, in coast cities, of course. We can't go to Hyderabad or some other, internal areas, but then coast cities, at least you can have a reverse RO plant and you can have potable water. But that is highly electricity consuming. So can we do more of renewable energy? Can we do something more on the battery side? So now I come to the case study, just 5 minutes, and I will close. My case study is about how to reduce the dependence of crude oil imports for India and how to focus on cheap transport systems. So there are two topics really, which are close by again: reducing the crude oil imports and focusing on cheap transport systems, which will make the logistics cost less. This is one of the topics. You can have hundreds of topics. You can tell me, I want to make an aeroplane which will be better than Rafale or something like that. That is one topic. I want to have a submarine. Incidentally, India built the first submarine. My name was in it. I was part of that project. We built our airport in Vizag. That was in 2000, inaugurated by our president. So can we, in these areas of Atmanirbhar in defense, can we do something that will make the nation proud? So we have to get into all this. And then you think of these things again and again, again and again. And the more you think of this, there will be a chance. God will give you a chance to do something like that. The more you think on that line, the more you get it. You won't get it without thinking. That is important. And you should have that much of deep thinking for that, that yes, I need it. After World War II, Japan was in dumps. I have seen the type of bombing and the photographs there. Today, when I was there at that time and they asked me to move around, and when I went to that place, where the photo was showing this place is completely bombed in the World War II, but today I see five railroad structures moving over it. The first level, the second level, the third level is a road, the fourth level is another railway. You go to Tokyo, it's such a crowded city, but you have so beautiful road system, rail system over there. They are moving on one another, they are crisscrossing one another. And they are at a place where some years ago, that place was completely bombed. Same thing at, I think, Nagoya, but also at one more, Osaka, where I had my Japanese training on the language. So you see those countries, how they have come up. Can they come up without that willpower? Can they come up without that strength? We don't feel for India. That's the problem. Hence, we don't get it. The more we feel for India, we will get it. Let's say Reliance is doing something on trying to make sodium batteries. You might have seen they have tied up with a UK company and now they are. Why don't you look into some other batteries, some other calcium batteries? Now you may say, okay, he's talking anything which is out of the world, but with the advent of germanium and arsenic, you could create semiconductors. So Can't you use those materials that we have in plenty and then use it in batteries? You will be surprised, we have hydrogen oxygen batteries. That means you have a hydrogen cylinder, you have an oxygen cylinder, and through carbon nanopipes, you mix those gases slowly through small catalysts. And these experiments have been done at Ambernath in our defense laboratories. Such batteries are built. These batteries are called air independent propulsion. They are used on submarines. For 1 month, you don't have to come up. You don't have to run your diesel engines. You can use these hydrogen oxygen gas cylinders, and you can create direct electricity. You will be surprised, the highest bond energy is available when water is created. The highest bond energy is created, right? So now with hydrogen and oxygen, your output is again simple water. You hardly spoil the environment. You get a very high heat source. And if you could use this heat source not as a heat source but directly to convert into electricity, possibly 90% of the heat energy is directly available as electrical energy. At least the initial primary lab reports are putting it that way. Can we commercialize this thing? Can we use these batteries? Because a lot of people are talking of green hydrogen now. What is green hydrogen? It comes from waste municipal water, because waste municipal water is highly electrolytic, which you anyway need to convert, to break that water into hydrogen and oxygen electrically. So can we think of these things? Can we think of how to make more and more electric vehicles? Two-wheelers electric, four-wheelers electric, three-wheelers electric. Can we have charging stations? Can we look at a whole ecosystem? How, which will, which will sustain and provide for the electrical vehicles to run? These are the things which we should look at as engineers. This is not for commerce graduates or BA BCom to do. They have other things to do. We as engineers have to look at this. Can we build efficient railway networks? Why are we not focusing? Where is the railway freight coming from? It is come. Where is the railway revenue coming from? Revenue coming from? It's coming from the freight. It's not coming from the passenger side. Passenger side is highly subsidized. So if we can concentrate on the freight, then can we say that, okay, railways can be 50% private, 50% government, and this way we want to run and we want dedicated freight lines. Dedicated freight lines are there in USA, they are there in Europe, they're running very well. We can do that in India. Why it doesn't happen in India? Why engineers don't say that we need this? Why FICCI and other? You go into FICCI tomorrow, you through your hard work, you go up the ladder, you become a CEO, then you go into FICCI, you go into the other institutions, and from there you start pressurizing government. That give us the chance to be part of the Indian growth story, and you will get it. Why don't you build efficient seaways? Why don't you build ship lifts? The first ship lift was built by L&T, and I was part of it when I was in L&T. I'm saying that not to pat my back. I'm telling you, I'm just giving you very odd cases of things what an engineer can do. Now you have to think what you can do. Don't get into that regular thing, or even if you get into the regular thing for 1 hour in the day, you try to think what else I can do. Okay, this I'm doing for my life, for my livelihood. This I'm doing for my family. I have to earn some money. I have to do something. Fine, but that 1 hour extra, start thinking what else you can do for the country. What new thing you can do, and maybe that will give you some light. Because God helps those who help themselves. If you don't help yourself, God is not going to help you on your own. You have to do something for yourself, then you'll start getting the support. That's what I mean. And that's happening in many places. That's happening in many countries. When people become lazy, then they start frittering their wealth. Till the time people are innovative, industrious, they get support. No doubt, no problem. So this is what I have to tell you. And maybe this way, if we try to tap the gas in our Godavari basin, or if we try to do that, then possibly we have the chance to reduce the crude oil imports, reduce our foreign exchange money, and generate more wealth in India. So that's from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. If any faculty member or student have any question for Pradeep sir, you may please ask now.
Hello, good morning,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. Good morning.
Hello, Pradeep, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah. Yeah. You are. Yeah. You are audible.
Yeah, sir. Uh, Yeah, sir. Thanks a lot for such a wonderful talk, sir. I'm from Electronics and Telecommunication Department. My name is Shoaib Sheikh. Sir,
Great.
I wanted to ask you, as you said, there are a lot of things we can do, and you have been to Germany and you have been to Japan, and these countries are into electronics manufacturing, to be more specific, semiconductor device manufacturing. So,
Correct.
being a growing economy, how we can contribute ourselves into this domain, and what could be your piece of advice to young engineers to contribute into this domain?
That's a good question. Today we are also going through a lot of chip shortage, as you know. Government has some plans, but my point is just don't depend on the government plans. We can do something ourselves. See, I didn't know that somewhere at the age of 52 or 53 I can get into shiplift. Correct? Nobody gave me that sort of a written statement. So I had to earn it myself. You start with a small group. You start with a small electronic company, say AppLab or some other company somewhere in Santa Cruz or what I know about. Or you can start with Samsung and LG. They have big plants in India. You can start making something of what they're doing. Then you can branch out. You will know what thing you can do for India. For example, there are a lot of display boards on buses, that are saying this bus is going from here to here. Those display boards are also electronic items, which
Correct,
are
sir.
having a mass appeal. We can get into a lot of now Dixon technology. These are some of the names that come to my thinking, because I am not an electronics engineer per se, but I think that you have to start from somewhere, then you can have the big picture. Initially only you think that okay, there will be somebody who will fund me for a chip design, then that will never happen. You have to earn
Correct,
it,
sir. Correct.
boss. You have to
Right,
earn it.
right, sir. Yes, sir. So, what do we do in our college? We emphasize our students to take part into competition wherein they can at least build some small models which can be helpful in real world applications. So, we do
Correct.
that. To I mean, the thing that I've stated, like how to get into that domain. But yeah, that problem we face to get into actual electronic industry. I mean, to place students into actual electronic industry just because of we don't have I mean
See, there
industries
is a
those are
see,
into.
there is
Yeah,
a core industry, there is a core electronics industry, and there is a little auxiliary electronic industry, if you may
correct, sir.
say. So the auxiliary in the industry is somewhere in telecom where you are directly not using all your knowledge of electronics, but possibly the knowledge of gates and knowledge of
Right, sir. Yeah,
logic that you
networking
have learned.
and
That
yeah,
at least you
satellite
are trying to
communication,
do.
optical fiber
Correct.
communication,
But
and all.
then
Correct, sir.
you will find today more and more people, at least I don't know, but I can tell you that Taiwan is now having a problem, which it is not my creation. It is already created. Now Taiwan wants to find a country where it can settle. And which is the country? It can't go to Japan. It's a very costly country. It can't go to USA. Again, it's a very costly country. It has no choice but to come to India. Now, how will India fund Taiwan? India can't fund Taiwan. We don't have so much money. Then we'll have to take the money from friendly Gulf nations, either Saudi or UAE, so that our manpower, their money, and Taiwan technology, we can set up some chip manufacturing industry in India. Such a thing is already going on in the mind of government. They are trying that with Israel. They are trying that with Taiwan. But I'm saying that could happen after 10 years. In between, at this moment, you will know how the industry works in electronics. So either you can join the core sector or the non-core sector and try to see how you can be well suited after 10 years to take that sort of a position where really a chip industry will come. And today we don't have those many engineers on core chip manufacturing, as you know.
Right,
But
right,
then
sir.
we will have to create those engineers.
Right, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your
Correct.
advice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya sir. Thank you, Pradeep sir. It's time to conclude today's session. I extend my sincere gratitude to Pradeep sir for his highly informative session. It was definitely a great motivation for all of us to think about what we can do for our country and various aspects which can make us Atmanirbhar Bharat, which definitely demands the courage and guts. And our young
Correct.
engineers plays a very important role in this, because if we don't do it right now, there will be only one new export that would happen in future, which will be of brain and talent. So our history and present does represent all the potential that India as a country have. Let us all come together, take good of all the countries, and become more self-reliant nation. Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
thought-provoking address, sir. It was an honor to hear from you. We are really grateful for you to take time out from your busy schedule and join us here. We
In
always look
fact,
forward to for more such
in
interactions, sir.
in
Yes, sir.
fact, I thank you for giving me the chance. So thank you again.
Thank you, sir. Uh, it's time to click a group photograph. So I would request all the participants who are joined through Meet, please on your camera, we'll take a group photo. Everyone kindly on your cameras.
ये कॅमेरा ऑन कसा करायचा?
Sir, आपका camera on. Your camera is on, sir.
Yeah. Is it done?
Okay, great. Yes.
Yeah. Fine.
I would like to propose vote of thanks for today's session. I thank all the dignitaries for taking time out and addressing us today. Your thought-provoking address has left us with perfect platform for our speakers to deliver their presentation in their respective area of research. Thank you so much, everyone. We hope you all will have two most productive days of interesting discussions. We sincerely wish that this conference will be a great success, not only as a chance to share the knowledge and experience in higher education, but also as the beginning of a long and fruitful cooperation. On this note, we would like to conclude the inauguration ceremony of NCRNB 2022. Sorry, the session will start as per the schedule provided. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, madam. Okay.
Everyone can
Thank
leave
you,
the
sir.
meet
Thank
and join
you.
your respective
Thank
session.
you.
Yeah. आता काय करायचं दीपा? डायरेक्टच बंद केलं. ते बंद नाही झालं. इकडे.